Emily again. How are you all? I'm sorry my video got cut off when I was doing my discussion on being transgender and having feelings of suicide ideation. As I was saying in my previous video, I wish I knew the name of this individual, but I believe it's best to not mention names, keep it confidential for her own privacy and out of respect for her. But as I was saying, I was captivated with her video on the topic of suicide, and I found the video very informative and helpful, and a lot of what she was saying I identified with, and I also realized that she was also stating that if you have those feelings, you should seek help and do everything in your power to rid yourself of those feelings, and that life is precious, and no matter what kind of pain you're in, things can get better. So she put a very optimistic spin on her video, and it was very insightful and encouraging, and I thought that it was well done, and it came from the heart. She was very, she put a lot of her personal feelings into doing the video. The sad, tragic aspect of her video was, and I just learned of her after the fact. I didn't know about her videos, I didn't know her personally, but I came across her videos and I found them very helpful, and she was doing remarkable with her transition. Initially she did a few videos in guy mode, and then eventually, as she started her full transitional process, she was more and more developing and looking stunning, beautiful, and very feminine, and a very good role model for the transgender girl community. So I really was totally amazed with her videos and very I admired her and looked up to her as a role model. And you know, I found that video specifically dealing with suicide very awakening in a way, and very important to do such a video, as she had indicated. I wish I knew her name. I don't remember the name. But the sad reality is that her family didn't accept her as she revealed her transgender identity. And they didn't want any part of her as a result of her transitioning. I think she had divided family. Some of her family accepted her, and then some didn't. And they cut off all relations with her. But her, knowing what she had to do, she didn't let that discourage her from her need to transition. She continued on. And she was very courageous and very inspirational, and a joy to watch on her videos on YouTube. I found them very entertaining. I found them very enlightening, insightful. I experienced all that she had communicated in her videos, so they were very helpful to me personally. And I came across one of her videos, and on it, one of the comments was, "Rest in peace, we'll miss you, dear." And I was trying to figure out why that was addressed on the video. So I went to her page, and I saw that she actually tragically committed suicide. Heartbreaking. Here was a young woman who was transitioning, and she was looking really beautiful, and she had a beautiful way about her. She was remarkable as a person. She did videos to encourage and inspire people, and sadly she committed suicide. And I just was totally devastated. I didn't know her personally. I came upon her videos after the fact, so she had already died as I was seeing her videos. And I just felt so sad, you know? And that's the tragedy that a lot of trans people meet up with, is that they don't find acceptance. And suicide is a very real possibility for some. And it's a final act, and a lot of people resort to suicide to end their pain. They don't really want to die. They just want to end the pain that they suffer from. And it's very hard to understand what transgender individuals go through. But me, personally, I know from experiencing my inner feelings since I was a little kid. I was about 3 years old. You know, I was born a boy, but I never felt I identified that way. I always identified as a girl. I always felt more comfortable as a girl. I always enjoyed wearing girls' clothes. I always envied the girls. I admired them from the distance. I was in awe of girls. I just wanted to be just like them. I just felt in my heart that's what I was supposed to be. And it didn't add up to me. You know, nothing made sense to me growing up. I just didn't feel right. And it was a bad time for me. It was a struggle. And I struggled with those feelings of suicide. I really did. There were times when I thought I'd never really experience life as an adult. I was in so much pain, I wanted that pain to end. For me, growing up as a teenager was the most difficult time in my life, when I had to struggle through puberty and hating my body and hating everything about it, and knowing that I wanted deep down to be a girl and live as a girl and act like a girl and look like a girl and talk like a girl. Just being a girl was what I wanted so much. And I just didn't feel right. Nothing felt right. And I tried several times to overdose and to escape the pain that I felt. And it's a horrible feeling. And you just feel totally lost. And like there's no way you're gonna be able to solve the problem. And I grew up in a time where you never talked about those feelings. You know, I just knew I was different. I didn't know I was transgender at the time. I just felt different. Things didn't seem right to me. Excuse me. And it was sad. I cried a lot. I didn't think I could get through those feelings, and I doubted myself consistently. And I just hated being a boy. Though I was able to muddle through it, I guess you could say, as much as I hated it. Being transgender is unique and very painful also. And you hide a lot. You wind up not telling people. It's very hard to come out. For many, they have so much to lose, and they don't want to jeopardize that. You know, a lot of transgender individuals who are more mature generally marry and raise a family, hoping that that will end the feelings that they had since they were young. A lot of them enlist in the military, thinking that will change them. But the reality is, no matter what you do to try to change the way you feel, you're only delaying the truth. At some point in your life, you're going to have to confront that. And the decisions that you make are different for all. You know, not all transgenders decide to transition. But I think many feel they have no choice but to transition. And for many, transitioning is the way of them coming to self-acceptance and having inner peace. It takes a long time to accept the fact that you need to transition. There are so many complexities and complications when you decide to transition. You're still going to battle with the depression and suicide ideation, possibly. Transition isn't always the same for all of us. Some who really are desperate and want to be completely reflective of how they feel need to do all aspects of the transition, which includes surgery. Not everyone who transitions does surgery for several reasons, whether it's financial or fear, or they just don't think it's necessary. But regardless if you do everything or partially do transition, it doesn't change who you are. If you are born male and you identify as female, it doesn't make you less of a female if you don't have the surgery. If you know in your heart that you're a female, even though you weren't born female, or you're born female with the wrong body, it doesn't make you less of a female if you don't go through with surgery. For some, not being able to have surgery could be devastating, to the point, tragically, that the individual seeking the surgery, who maybe can't afford it, may very well commit suicide because of it. And that's very sad, but that's the reality. For me personally, I would love to have the surgery. I feel that I need to have the surgery, but I can't afford the surgery. Does that mean that I might commit suicide because of it? I don't know. All I know is that I've been very depressed because I realized that something that I truly desire is probably never going to happen for me. So I have to kind of just try to understand and accept that even if I'm not able to do the surgery, it doesn't make me less of a woman. Because in my mind, heart, and soul, I am a woman. And I've always known that. But since I was a little boy, realizing that in reality I was a girl. But the truth of the matter is that when you're struggling and you want everything to be the best that it can be, for most who are transgender, surgery is definitely something that is very important. Now, getting back to this issue of transitioning and having struggles and possibly facing rejection from family, and how that can affect you in your own mental well-being and your state of mind. I think it's a very dismal fact that those who struggle deeply struggle on a daily basis and question who they are and realize that if they don't transition, their life is meaningless. I think it's very important that they get emotional support, love, acceptance, and somebody who they can trust to talk to. It's a huge burden that one carries being transgender, and it's a very hard thing to live with, and trying to deal with it on a daily basis is a very difficult thing to do. I find that my coping mechanisms have improved basically because I've been going for therapy, and I'm on medication, and I'm doing the transition as best I can. I'm taking baby steps, and I'm transitioning slowly but surely. You know, I am at an age where I felt it was either transition or die trying, basically. And I was in the hospital this past few years now. I was in the hospital many times, and on several hospitalizations I was hospitalized for attempted suicide. So my feelings on suicide are very real, and I speak from experience. And now that I look back on those attempts and I see where I am right now, I feel that first of all, it's good to be here. I'm lucky. You know, I still have my family. I still have my son who loves me, and I love him. I am transitioning to the best of my ability. Learning new things as I transition. I'm making new friends. I'm going to social groups. So I'm slowly but surely building the right steps to be happier and to kind of escape from those bad feelings that I had where I wanted to end my pain with the notion that suicide would make things better. Now I know better. All suicide does is it ends your life. It's a final act, and it hurts so many people. It hurts your family, it hurts your friends, and no matter what you would convey, if you were to write or express your pain, it just doesn't help. All it does is it ends a wonderful potential that you can be. And if you are blossoming and transitioning and working on all that you need to stay healthy, you should move forward and just be happy. You know, there's no perfection in transitioning. You know, I am very envious though when I watch the videos of other girls who have or are in the process of transitioning, because a lot of them are beautiful. They are amazing. And you just say, wow. And you want to be like that. You know, I want to look like that. I want to be pretty. I want to be amazingly beautiful. But I'm just me, you know? Sweet little Emily. And this is me and this is who I am. And, you know, I can't help. I have small breasts. You know, I've gained a little weight, which I need to lose. But I'm not feeling suicidal right now, or for a while now. And I think a lot of it is attributed to my medication, my therapist, my psychiatrist, my doctor who's prescribing my hormones, and the social groups that I go to. Plus I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, hub pages, and blogger. So I keep myself pretty busy with social media, and I've met other trans girls through Facebook, and I've obviously am very curious and watch as many videos on YouTube relating to me, male to female, transgender. I spend hours at a time watching those videos. Sometimes I don't even go to sleep. But my doctor tells me that, my psychiatrist tells me that's not healthy. And a lot of my feelings of depression are stemmed also because I don't sleep well. I suffer from insomnia. And I think a lot about my situation. Excuse me, being out of work, you know, raising a family, paying my mortgage, transitioning. Certainly I want to work as Emily. I want to present as Emily full-time, which I do. I'm actually presenting now for a little over 2 years. But I've been out of work for 2 years. So, though I'm presenting, it's only like out and about, going to the mall, going to the supermarket. But it's my life, and I'm living it. But it would be nice to be working and accepted at work, in a working environment. The truth of the matter, though, is I've been out of work for about 2 years, and I don't really miss work, but I know I need to work. I'm not independently wealthy, unfortunately. If I was, I'd be having surgery in a heartbeat. But I have to make do with my current circumstances, and I think one of my motivating, one thing that keeps me from contemplating suicide like I've done in the past is that I have my son, and I love him very much, and it would be totally devastating to him. He's autistic, and I know what it's like to lose somebody from suicide. I lost my dad 4 years ago to suicide, and I'll never forget that horrible day. My dad, unfortunately, was in a lot of pain, and he struggled with drinking alcohol, and he was sad that my mom, his wife, died many years earlier, 23 years ago. So he was alone. And I think what kept him going was I have 2 sisters with several children, and I have a son. So all his grandchildren kept him busy, but he was very lonely. I never told my dad about my own transgender situation, but I think he kind of knew because I had a lot of girl clothes, but he never spoke to me about it. We never talked about it. My 2 sisters knew, but we never talked about it. But yeah, sadly my dad was hit by a train. He sadly took his life, and he jumped into the path of a oncoming train. It was very painful to face that reality, but I feel very strongly that suicide isn't the answer, and no matter how down you get or how depressed you are, you have to keep trying to focus on things to make you feel better. But you also have to realize that you can't do it alone. You need people. You need a support system. You need to reach out. Like I said earlier, you need to call 1-800-SUICIDE, 911. You have to reach out to a friend. Tell a loved one. There's no shame in feeling depressed. There's no right thing to do. You just have to do what